Hello, everyone. Scott here. We've got a very special guest for you tonight. It's returning Blaze forward, Johnny Curran. Johnny, first of all, welcome back. And secondly, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me. This should be fun.
Should be fun indeed. Let's
Yeah.
talk about how you ended up in Coventry straight out of college, 24 years old. How did the move to the Coventry Blaze come about in the first place?
Kind of just by chance. I think I mentioned to my coach in university at Niagara U that I could potentially get a UK passport, and he really encouraged that. So that was a work in progress during my senior year. So I had my sights on the UK league, and then as players can relate to, you just get a random message on Facebook or by someone asking if you want to play hockey next year, and I replied. And the last time this agency posted about a player signing was me in Coventry in 2019 or 2020. So I don't know if they've done anything since. I don't even know their names, but they got me in touch with Stewie, and the rest is history.
It's mad that a Facebook link or a Facebook message can get you a job these days. It's unreal. But let's talk about that season. It's your first year pro. You got to settle in. It's a great year for yourself. Six goals, 20 assists, and what a team we had that year. Unfortunately, ending in COVID, I feel I've said this many times on a broken record that there was a trophy in there for us. But how special was that group?
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Really good first pro experience. As you, I think we all, I think over time I've gotten over it, but it definitely took that whole COVID year, especially the season after when it was kind of a broken season, to kind of reflect on how special that team was. And like you said, there's definitely a trophy in there for us somewhere. And just as Stewie does year in and year out, just like hires really good people first, and it was just a ton of good friends on that team. And then you probably know the stats better than me. I think we were in first place after 10 games,
Yeah,
and then
we
went on
were.
a bit of a slide, fell out of the cup just from some bounces, and then found our form when Mater came around Christmas, I think maybe before Christmas.
Yeah, it
And
was. Yeah, just before Christmas.
as everyone knows, there's a ton of hockey to be played around that time, and we kind of got going and never looked back.
Talk to us about the certain players in that room. For me, looking into and listening to how the players spoke to each other, there was a lot of characters, but players like Andrew Johnson kind of lit up the room. That he seemed to gel everyone together, and even like you're looking at the older boys who are normally a bit more reserved. It's just everyone was singing from the same hymn sheet that year.
Oh yeah, like look, like we've had some quiet guys in the Blaze since then, and like a quiet guy in that team would have been like a hash or a hammer, but they still had their comments in there, brought something to the room that was a lot of fun. And then you just had like just a lot of special years going. Like Luke Farrar couldn't miss. He scored what 40 goals or there's just a ton of goals. Yanni was rolling back the clocks. Like he looked like a 22-year-old passing all those pucks. And then when I did my takeover on Twitter the other day, I just mentioned like Drew Shistel, like what a special player he was, and he
Yeah,
was a character in the room too. He was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was just a really good group of guys.
yeah. Unfortunately, the season did get cut, and we didn't have the season the next year. Now, you talked about your UK passport, and we'll go on to GB later, but the rules and regulations are that if you're eligible, you have to play 2 consecutive years. So
Yeah,
that really put you on the back burner to then have to do another 2 years. It's a silly rule, isn't it?
yeah, that was tough. I think looking back now, I probably would have done things differently, but at the time, I was very confident of the decisions I was making. East Coast was one of the only leagues playing at the time. I had an opportunity to sign originally with a team, so I was really excited about that. As it went, I ended up playing the first game of the year with them, and that was it. I was gone the next day because a bunch of guys were coming back from the Marlies, I think, because everyone was just scrambling to play. And then I ended up in Knoxville and played some. You know what? It was actually a lot of fun down there, and it's pretty decent hockey because, like I said, everyone's scrambling to play. But you know what? Looking back now, maybe yeah, maybe just wait for the Elite Series or whatever it was
Yeah.
called. But you can't do that, right? You have to. At the time, you're a professional hockey player and you got to make money somehow. So a job was calling, and I had to go.
Well, I looked at your Knoxville team, Sean Giles, who's playing in Fife this year, and
Yeah.
Matthew R, who was a elite league goal
Legend.
scorer, one of the most goals scored in Sheffield. So, what was it like playing in that league? With the restrictions, was it okay to play? Could you still move about a bit?
I could probably tell all the stories now. It's all done and dusted. Another name on there was Jacob Benson. He played on Fife the year after, and I think he scored 20 something goals for Fife. He's a really good player. But yeah, obviously everyone was really uptight in Canada, and so you're driving through the states. I drove from Ontario to Tennessee with Matthew Waugh. He drove down from northern Quebec, met me in the falls, and we drove down together. And you can just kind of see it slowly loosening up as you got more south. And then by the time we got there, their guys have already been playing for 10 or 15 games, and they just recommended to go get sick and get it done with because then you don't have to test
Yeah.
anymore. So I think I played 5 games, got sick, missed 3, and then I was all clear for fun in the University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
You got to do what you got to do, haven't you?
Yeah, hard
So
time.
the 21-22 season, there was a lot of buzz and excitement about the team. There was a lot of returning guys that you thought maybe we wouldn't get back, yourself and Mott, and there was a lot of excitement. But it was a weird year. We struggled in the standings. We finished 8th place. Do you feel like there was a hangover from the previous years? Was it
Yeah,
the
I
year we
think
did so well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of expectations from the excitement. Like you said, some big pieces coming back, but we also lost a lot of big pieces. Like Drew Schistoll signed back, and the COVID year pushed it back, and then he ended up retiring. Something like that is like a massive player to get back. And then Broler going to be a fireman, you can't blame him for that. Like that's a career for life. Matthew Thompson getting hurt pretty early for the season. Like that's 3 AHL players caliber that didn't play for us. So, and then when I think when you look back at the standings, maybe 2 or 3 more wins put us in 4th.
Yeah.
So I think definitely the expectations were there, which players want. You want to have some expectations, but yeah, I think we probably would have preferred to be up in the standings better than we finished, right?
Yeah, I mean, when Broll left, you lose your safeguard a little bit, and
Mhm.
Ryan Penny was having to step up and getting a bit. We
Yeah.
didn't really need him doing that. We wanted him to play. What I noticed about your game, Johnny, obviously you've had your first year pro, you've been kicking around it back home for a little bit. You changed the way you play. Tell me if I'm wrong. You had a very much pass first mentality, I found. And then as the season gone on, you got a bit more. Do you know what? I'm going to shoot a lot more, and the goals came for you, and that's what happened over the last 2 seasons. I felt.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think with opportunity comes different expectations too. And throughout that COVID year, I was up and down with different players, but I played a lot of the season with V, and V has great vision and puts you in a lot of good places to succeed. So when he's giving you passes, you got to shoot the puck. And then the same goes with Yanni. I played a little bit of time in the middle between Feds and Yanni. So me and Feds were just shooting the puck because Yanni's not gonna.
No.
So yeah, I think yeah, my shot mentality probably came back. I would say I was a shooter in college and kind of lost it a bit my first year with the Blaze, but yeah, it was definitely a side I wanted to get back.
And with the 22-23 season, we were on a roll. There was kind of an expectation within the fan base that we could get the playoffs, and it was 20 minutes of madness that just fell apart. Could you kind of sing out what happened there for yourself and the team?
Yeah, like well, even before playoffs, there was a 5 or 6 game stretch in November that pretty much took us out of the league.
Yeah.
Because when you look back at it, we're 6 wins away from Belfast from the top 5, and a spree like that in November ends up you're in 5th the rest of the year. And I think it shows the character of that team to kind of still push forward because it's like, did we want it to be a top 4 team and the rest, or did we want it to be a top 5 and the rest?
Yeah.
And you'll look, I don't know who was below us, but there was a big gap
I think it was
between
24
5 and 6.
points or something like that.
So I think
Yeah.
that shows the character of the team. And then, yeah, as far as that game goes, it's just one of those games. It fell apart within a period, and it's really hard to dig back. And once again, kind of showing the character to go into Cardiff with all smiles, playing sewer before the game, trying to just get the best out of all of us. And we went up 2-0, and just couldn't get that third one to really, really
Yeah,
stress me out. But yeah, 20 minutes and your hopes for a trophy's gone.
yeah. Um, the season ends, and before we go on to GB, you finish top point scorer for the Coventry Blaze. You announced that you're moving on to Slovakia. What was the situation with yourself? Where were you getting offers from? And to talk to us about what happened with in Slovakia in the end.
Yeah. So after the season, Stewie obviously throughout the year wanted to talk contracts, but he's also been there as a player. He did 4 years with Coventry, and I'm sure he had opportunity to play elsewhere too. And so there wasn't the conversation I had with Stewie was I didn't want to get out of Coventry. I wanted to get out of the league and try something different. So it was nothing to do with the Blaze. And I felt with those 2 years, kind of back to back, it showed I could produce at the pro level because I didn't really produce in college. So yeah, there was opportunities in different leagues and ended up pulling the trigger with Slovakia to go with Marley. And looking back, I was really excited. It could have been a good fit. And then looking back, maybe some different opportunities we could have pulled the trigger on, maybe Denmark or Norway could have been a better fit, but we went with Slovakia and was really excited getting there. And then you get there and it was something you weren't expecting. Just like no equipment. I don't want to slam them too much, but it's like you get there. I think
No,
we got there August 5th. I didn't sleep on a bed until September. Like I slept on a couch for a month. Um, no gear, just stuff that they just weren't ready to have us. And then I think we played 10 exhibition games in August. So it was something I think I probably wasn't prepared for. And obviously it showed because it affected my job in the end.
yeah, but you got to take chances. It's a short career, and I think from the Blaze fans' perspective, we were happy that you got that move, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You end up back in the league. What was the process in going to Belfast? I mean, they were Grand Slam winners last year. It makes a lot of sense to sign for Belfast. How did that move come about? And was there a chance to come back to Coventry before that?
So that started in Slovakia. Obviously they started a bit earlier. So by the time the Slovakia fell through, you call Coventry, you call different teams, and the season hasn't even started yet. So everyone's pretty much they're full, they're ready to go. It just shows Stewie's character. He wasn't willing to part ways with a player that hasn't even played a game yet.
Yeah.
So Coventry wasn't going to be a place I could land right away. And you know what? I ended up having to fly home because there was nowhere in the UK that was ready to have me. And I flew home, and the next day I had like three teams call the minute you get home because a team gets swept in preseason. Now they need a guy. They're thinking their team's not there. Belfast got an injury. And then another team I was speaking with earlier in the spring kind of was, I think, him and Han. But Belfast came through with online NBA that this year, and the hopes of playing in a top six role. So that's one of those things. It's, to land on your feet after a rough August and end up in Belfast was a great opportunity.
You mentioned the top six role, and I'm looking. I mean, you managed to score first shift in Coventry. That was lovely. But I'm speaking. I've got my friends in Belfast, and I'm like, what? Why is Johnny Curran playing the role he's playing in Belfast? You were effectively playing fourth line minutes, shut down guy. You weren't costing the team. You got a few goals, few points, but your plus minus was bang on. What do you think was the issue with, well, not the issue because you're playing, but why were you on the fourth line is my real question.
I can never be able to tell you because that's I don't want to talk bad
No,
or
of
anything
course,
about
of
it.
course.
It was a good experience, but the whole time it was the understanding that I would get the opportunity to play in a role I've played in Coventry pretty much, and I had that opportunity 3 games and I scored all 3 games, and then I was back on the third line with Oliver Cooper and Longer, and we were playing great hockey. And that was when we were winning Champions League games and all that. So I was really thrilled with my role on the team. And then injuries happen, and you think the opportunity comes knocking throughout the injuries, and it pulled me back and kept sending me down somehow. So I wish I had the answers for you, but
Yeah.
only the coaching staff could tell you that, and I don't think they would.
No, of course not. What was the Champions League like? What sort
Awesome.
of level? I mean, Belfast put up a very good performances in those Champions League games, getting some wins as well, which was great to see for the league. But what level difference are you talking?
Um, I'd say the size and the speed is definitely a big difference. But you know what? When we brought our A game, we were controlling the pace, and you could tell they didn't want to be there because as everyone knows, it's a hard building to go in there, and they're sellout games, and we're playing a confident game at the time. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to be a part of. I think obviously those teams are going to say like, oh, they're already through, didn't bring a few players or this or that. But you know what? End of the day, it's a hockey game, and they were really entertaining games to be a part of. So yeah, overall, great experience.
And then you announced you that leaving the Belfast Giants, and my phone, I get a few messages. Is he back in Coventry? I said I don't know, don't well, not heard anything, don't know. And then boom, you're announced. What happened? How quick was the process?
Pretty quick. So honestly, it happened so quick. I couldn't even tell you how it really lined up. Um, the big thing was with Belfast was my schooling. That we kind of wanted to make sure that was taken care of one way or the other because if I wasn't going to play hockey, I was going to try to get something out of this year.
Yeah,
And to their credit, they followed through on it, and so I'm going to be finishing that MBA all
that's
year
good.
long, which is great, and it's really good on their part to do that. So we had to iron out those kind of details, but Kiefer pretty much brought me in and just said it's not going to change here, and he even said he's like I even like your game right now, but it's just not going to change. Like the opportunity is just not there, and I think we both agreed that there's opportunity elsewhere. And I don't know if he knew it was going to be in this league or elsewhere, but both agreed on it. And then by the time it's on Twitter, then it's official and the phone calls start coming.
Yeah,
So once we knew there was no holds on the contract or clauses, then Stewie came in with an offer, and I was on the plane. I think that night, the next like the day it was, I want to say New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, and then the next day I was on the plane.
did you not go back home? I hope you were still in Belfast, or did you go home first?
No, I was in Belfast got
That's
my own
good.
ticket.
At least he didn't do two and two, and it is
No, no.
great to hear. I mean, look, sometimes things don't work out, but the fact that the Belfast Giants are still putting you through the NBA has to be commendable. What have you noticed about this year's locker room that's different to previous years' locker room? Obviously, you've came in late. We're a team that's a bit mad. Let's be honest. We've gone into overtime 11 times, winning 8.
Yeah.
It's a bit bizarre this year. But what are the
Yeah.
guys like?
It's a classic Stewie team. It's all good guys, and I don't think people take that lightly or heavy enough, whatever you want to say. But like to recruit a really good group of guys isn't an easy task when you haven't met any of them. So it's a good group again. It's a quiet group, I'd say. So I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of life, or else the guys are going to be tired of me talking. But I'm pretty comfortable in that room, so I kind of just jumped in and started telling stories right away. But I'd say the only difference between this year's team and other Coventry teams is probably the guys aren't as dumb and goofy in the room. But other than that, Stewie's he recruits a talented team. He likes to score goals. He likes puck moving defensemen, good goaltending, exciting forwards. It's checking all of Stewie's boxes, right? So it looks like a good Blaze team to me.
I spoke with Jack Billings in the summer, who was nothing but praise for you, and he said he'll miss the Rock Room at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Have you been back yet? I know you've only been there, not been back long, but when's the visit happening?
Oh, we'll see. Whenever they take down my pair of skinny jeans that are in the rafters, they retired them for me. But no, I'd say that was my first year at Coventry. That was I was a Rock Room every week, but I haven't been there yet. But I have a feeling I'll probably stroll in there some point this year.
The league this year, I mean, Sheffield are lights out running away with it, but from second to 10th, it's wide open. What's the goals for this year? And obviously getting to the final four, and then talk to us about what the plan is for the Sheffield Steelers in the Challenge Cup, because it's a big test, but it's the first time we've been in the semi-finals for, I believe, 8 years.
Yeah. Like I can't speak for most of the teams, but I'd say the three teams outside of Sheffield in the cup are in the best opportunity for a good year, right?
Yeah,
You're still in the hunt for technically three trophies, but I would say two. And you don't have to wait for maybe a good weekend in playoffs. You can play some good hockey right now and chase down a trophy. And then as far as Sheffield going, they're great. They're a great team. They're hitting their form all year long. It's not like they've been streaking or anything. They're just playing good hockey consistently. So I think there'll be no surprises there that we're gonna have to play 120 minutes of really clean hockey to beat them. But like I said, we got all the pieces. We got great goaltending. We got great defensemen, and for a long time we had what three forwards leading running the league in points. So we can certainly score. So I think maybe the first period in the Skydome could probably set the tone for how that whole series is going to go.
yeah, definitely. And it's one the fans should be excited about. Just to wrap up, Johnny, GB is got to be in your eyesights this year, especially we're back in the World Championships in Prague. You just got to put your face in front of Pete to be on the plane.
Yeah, that was part of the conversation with Kiefer that I probably didn't mention earlier. Was it was kind of like the clock's ticking here. Like I need to play. I need to show them that I can still play some hockey, because that's an experience I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of that team for a long period of time. They have some big games with Olympic qualifiers in February and hopefully August. So I want to be hit my stride when it comes to playing for GB and the Blaze. So it couldn't have happened at a better time where I can play a lot of hockey this month and hopefully get back to my form.
Well, 3 games, 3 points. It's a good start, Johnny. So I wish you well for the rest of the season, and bloody welcome back.
Yeah, I know. I really appreciate it. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to say I really appreciate the warm reception from all the fans. I was gonna go reply on Twitter, but there was just too much to handle. So I just wanted to, if this would get out to the Blaze fans, that I really appreciate the support, and it's good to be home.
Brilliant. Cheers, Johnny.
All right, have a good one.